Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to True Sim Productions. I am your host from the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook, Winston Deal, and we are getting ready to go here at Southern National Motorsports Park tonight with the All-Star Racing League. You see qualifying up on the left side of your screen. We got about 4 minutes left, so these guys have had a little bit of time to take some laps. Right now, provisional pole goes to the number 55 machine of Brian Voss, your winner last week in the All-Star race at the Bull Ring. The second spot right now belongs to the 54 of Brandon Elvis. He led your last points-paying race, or sorry, he won your last points-paying race at the Myrtle Beach Speedway, so he's going to have some momentum coming into tonight. Right now, Zach Murphy in the 29 machine on the racetrack. He goes to the top spot with a 14:32. Zach Murphy found the right line to run, got on the track at the right time. Goes to the top of the board, a little bit slower on that second time around, but goes to the top of the board. Brian Zimmerman now jumps up to the top spot. And this is a little bit of a change from the last couple races that we've seen. It's usually been Brian Voss, Brandon Elvis, 1-2 is the starting spot, but today it's going to be a little bit different. We've got a couple more drivers to take a qualifying lap. 3 drivers remain, one of those being the 25 machine of Mason Johnson, repping the Coors Light colors here tonight. This is Mason's first start this season with the All-Star Racing League. We'll see what he can do on lap number 1 in qualifying. Comes around turns 3 and 4, sees the white flag. Second quick lap number 1 of 14:28. Close to Brian Zimmerman's time. What can he do on lap number 2? Can he pick up the time needed out of turns 3 and 4? He's going to see the checkered flag. Last chance for Mason Johnson. A little bit quicker, but just shy of the pole position right there. You see it on the left side of your screen. He improved to a 14:26, so just shy of your fast qualifier, Brian Zimmerman. A couple cars still left to qualify. Justin Coleman just hopped into the session, so he'll probably be able to get a lap in. We got about 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. Anthony Rennick, Matt Cox, also drivers who have not posted a qualifying time yet. So we're going to go ahead and get a word from our fast qualifier. As of right now, Brian Zimmerman, if we can find him in chat. And we do have Brian Zimmerman, so we'll see if we can get a word up in here. Brian Zimmerman, 28 machine, you got a copy?
I got you, bud. How you tonight?
I'm pretty good. Qualifying just about over. Right now, you're sitting at the top of the board. A little bit different than what we've seen so far this season. I think I mentioned last week during the All-Star race that you weren't the best of qualifiers, but you were always there. In the end, you were in the top 3. Well, now you reversed it a little bit, and now you're at the top of the board in qualifying. What can you do in this 100-lap event to keep it there?
Got to save that right front. Right front's key here tonight. These cars really are pushy here tonight. So if I can keep the right front on the car, we'll be pretty good shape. But there's a lot of fast guys in here. Brian, Zach, Brandon, Mason. Mason put down a great lap there. Dalton Creech. Got a lot of boys in here that are quick. So it's going to be hard to hold it. But I'm definitely happy to be starting out front because of these cars, it is very difficult to pass. So, I think taking tires is going to be the key. When do you take those tires during this race? Because fresh tires do make a huge difference. So, pit strategy is going to play a big key in the race tonight.
You mentioned pit strategy and also saving the tires, and you said when is it going to be the time to pit and get those tires, and as the race leader and kind of you have that control, are you feeling it's going to be later in the race or earlier, or is it you just going to be playing it by feel?
It'll play it by ear and when cautions fall. Definitely, you know, if it don't get a caution, you're not going to pit under green here. So, and kind of at a disadvantage being first, everybody pit behind you, and you're on old tires. You're going to get smoked when you go green, and then you know you gotta know when to come. So I'm hoping for a caution ring lap 50 would be my guess, and that would be when I would think would be the best time optimal time would be about halfway.
Alrighty, well, sounds like you got a pretty good game plan going into tonight's race, but we'll let you get to it. Good luck to you.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Appreciate you broadcasting.
Yes, sir. Always a fun time. Alrighty, folks. So that was Brian Zimmerman, driver of the number 28 machine, going to be rolling off from the first place starting spot here tonight. And to his outside will be Mason Johnson in the 12 machine, or sorry, the 25 machine. Timing is a little bit messed up on that number, so got to keep that as a note in my head. Back behind him, Zach Murphy, going to be rolling off from the third spot, and to his outside, a two-time winner this season, Brian Voss in the 55 machine. First start not on the front row in a couple weeks here for the 55, so he's going to have his work cut out for him, but he's got a champion right behind him, Brandon Elvis in the 54, dropping out a new paint scheme from Coleman Design, so make sure we watch the chrome numbers fly by. Another set of chrome numbers up to his outside, Dalton Creech in the 36. Going to be rolling off 6. Back behind him, Caleb Thompson, Larry Bell making up row number 4. In the 9th spot will be Brandon Mettler and Daniel Sweat. In the 9th spot, then Brandon Mettler 10th, Justin Elvis, Justin Coleman, and Anthony Runnick rounding out the field out of turns 3 and 4. We're racing at Southern National. Turns 3 and 4. Mason Johnson putting up a good effort on the top side on lap number 1. He's going to lead the first rotation around the track. Zimmerman going to fight back down low. A little bit of contact off the corner. Zimmerman had to catch his car right there, had to check up a little bit. That's going to give the lead and advantage to Mason Johnson. He's clear on lap number 2. Zimmerman back into the second spot, battling behind him though. Brandon Elvis took a peek to the inside of Ryan Voss. We'll see if the 55 machine can keep the 54 at bay right here. As we're early in this 100-lap event, but all these positions at the beginning of the race are going to be important later on, as your pole sitter Brian Zimmerman said track position will be important. So it looks like Brian Voss able to defend Brandon Elvis in the 54, move back down into the 4th spot comfortably. He sets his sights on Zach Murphy, who's in the 3rd spot currently. Start to calm down here on the exit of turns 3 and 4. Mason Johnson settles into the lead. We are 5 laps into this one, folks. 95 to go. They'll tick away quickly as they're in the 14-second bracket, so laps will be going away pretty quickly here. It's only a 100-lap race at Southern National. Time's going to run out quick. This battle right here for the 2nd spot. I think Brian Zimmerman might have gotten down on the apron right there. In turns 1 and 2, opened up the bottom for Zach Murphy. Contact again. I think Zimmerman got loose up off the corner. Came down the racetrack a little bit. No harm, no foul. They keep going. And the advantage to the 28 into turns 3 and 4 that time. And something we've seen so far, and we saw it right from the get-go, that top lane is definitely playing a little bit more of an advantage. They in the bottom lane at this point in time. The guys are just able to use more of the racetrack and keep that inside car at bay. It looks like Zimmerman going to be able to hold off that charge from Zach Murphy down low. Ryan Voss underneath Zach Murphy. He's going to catch Murphy off guard. He kind of dove it in there late, but the 29 gave him room. Still early in the race. Can't wad your car up this early, but it looks like Voss still not able to make it work down low. It's really hard to keep that car so close to the apron and not hit it, and then the second that you hit that apron, you got to lift to not run over the car to your outside. Justin Coleman and Larry Bell battling back here for the 9th spot. Coleman started in that 12th place spot post a qualifying lap, so he's coming from the rear, up 3 positions right now into the 9th spot. He's able to get around Larry Bell, Daniel Sweat trying to take advantage as well. front of him, Brian Voss trying to sneak back by Zach Murphy here. A little bit more contact. These guys are having some trouble already getting off the corner with that right rear tire. Might be getting a little bit hot, and they're just getting a little bit slidey. We've seen a couple cars make contact off the corner just on the disagreement of space, so something to keep an eye on. This is the instance of these corners. They are pretty tight as the wall comes right up at you. Up front still, Mason Johnson, your race leader. He's got a pretty comfortable gap. A couple car lengths over Brian Zimmerman. He's kind of been caught a little bit here in these past couple laps. We're going to be 18 laps in this time by Johnson, still your leader. But there's 4 cars under a blanket for this top spot. Everybody right there waiting for somebody to make a mistake. And the lap times through the top 5 are all identical, within 1/1000th of a second of each other. So everybody has that similar pace, but it's just going to come down to endurance and who can, you know, paint that white line the longest. As a couple cars pulling out of line here. Zach Murphy to the inside for the second spot. Here comes Brian Voss trying to take advantage as well. Zimmerman will be able to hold on. He got on the wall a little bit off of 2 that last time by, and that opened the door for the 29, but can he use it? Big time sideways right there. Murphy going to have to get back in line. But that's that little battle right there between the two of them. Look at the gap that it allowed Mason Johnson to open up in the 25 machine. The gap was 0.2 of a second. Now it's up to 0.8 of a second as once again Voss tries the inside underneath Murphy. Zimmerman a little bit slow in the exit of 2 that time. Allowed Murphy to get the run, but I think he pushed wide through turns 3 and 4. Almost saw 3 wide there at Southern National. As this time by, we will be 1/4 through this race. So 25 in, 75 to go. Zimmerman, big time sideways off of turn 3 and 4 that time. He is really starting to lose the right rear tire on that race car. He's holding the 29 machine at bay right now. Here comes Zach Murphy, going to try that outside lane. Let's see if he can get it done up top. Brian Voss still staying low in the 55 out back. I think he's going to go to the high side this time into turns 3 and 4 to block the run from Brandon Elvis in the 54 machine. And give the second spot to Zach Murphy for the first time today on lap 28 out of 100. Zimmerman on the bottom side, going to lose another spot to Brian Voss. Here comes Brandon Elvis back low. Zimmerman was trying to get up to the top side to kind of block the runs coming. Elvis tried to go back to the bottom side, play a crossover move on him there, but nothing coming from it as Elvis tucked back into the pit spot. Trying to make another bid for position right here underneath Brandon Mettler in the 15. That's for the 8th spot. Looks like Coleman has the advantage down low for now. We'll see what kind of runs the 15 can get built up here. You saw right there the 14 got a little bit sideways off the corner and just allowed the 15 to get such a big run as more battling up in front of him. Caleb Thompson, Dalton Creech, starting to look a little bit more racing here. Up front, Brian Voss underneath Zach Murphy, trying to make that bottom side work. Ooh, Murphy loose off the corner. Both drivers did a good job of not making contact and causing an accident right there. Good racing up front here so far. We are only 33 laps in of our scheduled 100. As Voss continues to battle to the low side. Murphy still has the advantage at the line, but Voss is looking a little bit more close in the corners. Big time sideways moment. Brian Voss tucked way out of line right there. Luckily, he held on to that race car. Everybody looking sideways off the corners. The right rear tires definitely starting to heat up as we get later into this green flag run. We've been green from the get-go, 36 laps in at the line. And the only comfortable car on the racetrack right now is your race leader, Mason Johnson, in the 25. So he's just riding a comfortable race right now. And he hasn't had to use much of his tire at all. He's been able to keep that 25 out front. And the only real pressure he's had has been broken up by battles for that second place spot. As things start to calm down, though, that battle comes, or sorry, that gap kind of comes down a little bit. As you see right there, Murphy closing up to the back bumper of Mason Johnson. Will we see a challenge for the lead here? He's right there. Here comes Voss back down low for the second spot, though. That's going to allow Johnson to get away for now. Here comes Voss once again through the center of turns 3 and 4. Murphy loose up top. That's going to stall his momentum for now. What can Voss do through turns 1 and 2? On the bottom side, it looks like the grip is going away a little bit for the outside lane. You see them starting to rely on that right rear tire just a little bit more, and it's causing them to break grip on the exit of the corner and lose some of that momentum. Battle back behind them. Brandon Elvis underneath Brian Zimmerman in the 28 machine. Elvis trying to make the bottom side work. Voss up in front of him doing the same. But still, that top line has such a great advantage. His contact up in front. I think Murphy and Voss might have ping-ponged off of each other there. As we look at the field through turns 3 and 4. Looks like Elvis has the advantage in the 54 machine on the low side. Into turns 1 and 2. Here comes Dalton Creech trying to take advantage as well. And look at that. Brian Voss into the second spot. Murphy got loose off the exit of turns 1 and 2 that time. And that allowed... Oh! Dalton Creech gets tagged out back. And the caution flag is out. Not quite sure what happened, but somewhere on the exit of the corner, there was contact and around went the 36. We'll take another look here. So we saw Elvis and Zimmerman battling right there for the fourth spot. Oh, it looks like again off the corner, Zimmerman just gets loose and around he goes. So under caution for the first time this evening. We will step away for a quick break before we return. We'll be right back on True Sim Productions. As folks, we are back here at the halfway point. Leader at the line will be your Coleman Designs halfway leader, Mason Johnson. Brandon Elvis leading us through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone, and we are back racing at the line. Brandon Elvis will be your Coleman Design halfway leader with the new Coleman Designs number 54. Under that caution flag, a couple drivers electing to come down pit road. Brian Voss, Zach Murphy, and Caleb Thompson, a couple of the names involved. Brian Zimmerman as well, coming down pit road to take tires. And right now, up front, battle for the race lead. Mason Johnson trying to hold off Brandon Elvis, who's had a hard charge from the 5th place spot right now. Looks like the advantage goes to Johnson down low at the line. Almost clear on the exit that time. The 54 going to be able to come back on the top side, though. It looks like at the stripe that time, Johnson going to be able to be clear. He's going to give the bottom for Elvis, but he's not going to be able to use it. Give the race lead comfortably once again to Mason Johnson in the 25. As there is a hornet's nest back behind him. Brian Voss, Zach Murphy on fresh tires, trying to get around Anthony Reddick and Justin Coleman. 3 wide down low. Here comes Brian Voss in the 55. And we are 3 deep, and it's not going to work. Anthony Reddick goes around in the 23. You saw it unfolding right there. 3 wide, just a little bit too tight here. We'll try and see if we can get a better view of what happened down the back straightaway. See Voss on the inside. He gives plenty of room, and he's way down, but it looks like Coleman just up the racetrack. Anthony Rennick, not really anywhere to go, gets tagged, and luckily is able to lock it down without getting too much damage. Looks like a little bit on the front right there, but we'll take another look on board with Rennick in the 23. So we end into turns 3 and 4 right here. Yeah, you see the right front of Coleman just slide up, and luckily he's able to lock it down right there and not get too much damage, but under yellow once again for the 2nd time here this evening. 58 laps in at the line. Mason Johnson was able to hold off Brandon Elvis in the 54, and you got to think with the fight that Elvis put up right there on the top side, you got to wonder if Mason Johnson isn't interested in taking that outside lane. I believe he's going to. Oh, never mind. He's going to go back to the bottom. But the lights are off on the Bad Company Racing pace car, and we're getting ready to go back green flag racing here with 40 laps to go. Mason Johnson, your leader. Brandon Elvis, 2nd. Daniel Sweat, 3rd. Brian Voss and Zach Murphy rounding out the top 5, and we're going to go one more under caution. Race control not quite ready to send them back green flag racing that time. So we are going to go one more under yellow. But this is going to be an interesting restart here as Mason Johnson and Brandon Elvis had a good battle that last time. We'll see if Johnson's able to get a better start here through turns 3 and 4. Into turns 3 and 4. Mason Johnson has the advantage down the front straightaway, so give him the lead on this restart. But here comes Brandon Elvis back on the top side, trying to build up a run in the 54. We'll see if he's got anything into turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, right there in the catbird seat, the 55, who's on tires contact. Johnson up the racetrack. Elvis stood his ground. Almost crashed on the middle of the front straightaway. Luckily, everybody's able to hang on. Here comes Brian Voss, almost thinking about 3 wide there through the center of the corner. And things are getting dicey up front. Brandon Elvis leads at the line. Up the racetrack goes Mason Johnson in the 25. Here comes Voss to the bottom. Give Brandon Elvis the race lead on lap 65 out of 100. Here comes Brian Voss, though, in the 55. On fresh Hoosier tires, we'll see what he can do. Out back, though, caution flag is out. Justin Elvis turned around in turns 1 and 2. Not quite sure what happened. Oh, into the corner, Anthony Rennick. Contact from behind. Let's take another look here and see if we can't see what happened. If I can find the right thing. There it is. Yeah, it looks like the 23 just got in a little bit too hot there. Yeah. Anthony Rennick a little bit too hot into the corner. Fortunately sends around the 44 of Justin Elvis, but that puts us under yellow for the 4th time here tonight. We had 50 laps green, or sorry, the third caution here tonight. But 50 laps green and a string of cautions here at the lap 65 mark. But change up front, Mason Johnson comes down to put 4 Hoosier tires on, leaving the only car on the racetrack without a pit stop. 4 new Hoosier tires is Brandon Elvis. So suddenly the tables have turned. Everybody in the field has tires. The 54 does not. But we'll see if he was able to save up any on that first green flag run and be able to compete with these guys in the end. And I think Brandon Elvis in the 54 can get away on this initial start, but once the green flag laps get in and he gets some more heat in those tires, the fresher rubber on the 55 of Brian Voss and the 28 of Brian Zimmerman behind him are going to start to, bring back some of that gap. But it's going to be interesting here. Going to be sending them back green inside of 30 laps to go. And it'll be a 30-lap Saturday night shootout here on a Tuesday night. As Brandon Elvis, Brian Voss behind the iRacing.com pace car once again. I feel like I've said this a million times. This time at Southern National, the lights are off. We're through turns 3 and 4. The Bad Company Racing pace car is off, and we're back racing with 30 to go at Southern National. Through turns 1 and 2, Elvis is able to get the advantage on the bottom side. Here comes Brian Voss, though, taking a peek down low. Elvis up the racetrack. Through the turns 3 and 4, Caleb Thompson spinning into the pit road. I think that's going to keep the green out, though. So green flag is still out. Brian Voss down low. Brandon Elvis up top, and the caution flag flies. We're going to re-rack them and restack them and try it again. Not quite sure what happened. I think Caleb Thompson might have been the cause of the incident there, or rather Anthony Rennick in the 23 that brought out the yellow. Not quite sure what happened to the 23 on the restart, but it was on the exit of turns 3 and 4. He's underneath Justin Coleman. You see the 04 of Caleb Thompson spinning to the inside, and just contact with the 14 machine once again. Those two have been together a couple times here tonight. So I'm sure some tempers could be flaring. I obviously don't have voice chat turned on right now to give you the full story, but Coleman going to be getting sent to the back for that one in the 14. Folks, we got 25 laps to go. We're going to take a quick step away here on True Sim Productions as we get ready to wrap things up here at Southern National. We'll be right back in just one moment when the green flag drops on True Sim Productions. So the lights are off on the Bad Company Racing pace car. We're getting ready to go back racing. Once again, 23 laps to go at the line. Brandon Elvis leads. Brian Voss up top. We'll see what they can do. Down the back straightaway, Elvis going to get a good jump and a good restart. Just what he needed there with 23 to go. Make it 22 at the line. Here comes Brian Voss, though, right in the quarter panel. Making it close here. A good battle with 22 laps to go. is into turns 3 and 4. Brandon Elvis leads Zach Murphy. Brian Zimmerman battling for the 3rd spot right here. Murphy down low with the advantage. Here comes Zimmerman back up top, though. Remember, folks, the top side was the line to be in earlier on in the race, but it looks like the bottom's starting to prevail here in the latter stages. As we look back up front, Brian Voss, Brandon Elvis starting to break away a little bit. The battle behind him really starting to slow down. As here comes Mason Johnson trying to throw his name back up into the mix. Johnson doing a good job down low underneath the 28 machine. Here he comes to get a good run off of turns 3 and 4. Move Mason Johnson back up into the top 4, and he sets his sights on Zach Murphy with 18 to go. Dalton Creech back up into the top 5 in the 36. He's underneath Daniel Sweat right there, trying to make a run on the bottom side. But back up front, nose to tail, the 54 and the 55 once again. It's been the story all year long. 2 wins apiece. Right now, the bragging rights going to Brian Voss in the 55 machine for the All-Star race last week. But on points races, these two are 2 for 2. Who can get it done here tonight to have that advantage? They're sitting 1 and 2 in points. Brian Voss, though, with a 41-point deficit. Brandon Elvis trying to knock some of that down here tonight. So we have 14 laps to go at the line. Mason Johnson underneath Zach Murphy for the 3rd spot. The 25 making a late charge here, trying to make it a 3-car race for the lead. As Johnson, a little bit of contact there, holding his ground on the 29 is Zach Murphy, trying to make that pass work. And as this happens, they are gaining time on your race leaders. Starting to improve just a little bit. But the battle is heating up front. Brian Voss in the 55, right there on the back bumper of Brandon Elvis in the 54. Watch him into turns 3 and 4. How precise Voss has to be in the 55. The bottom lane opening up a little bit there. And the caution flag flies Larry Bell around in turns 3 and 4. We're going to have one more shot. As we see what happened, he was battling with Caleb Thompson for the 10th spot. Into turns 3 and 4. Oh, it looks like the 0-4 just gives him a nudge. And around he goes. Some more contact after the fact put the 43 in the wall. But it looks like he's going to be able to drive away some pretty heavy left front damage, but the fender's still on, so he's going to be able to continue here with 10 laps to go. So Brandon Elvis escapes the pressure from the 55 right there, but he's going to have to line up next to him on this restart. So 9 laps to go. We're coming to 8 right here. We're going to be sending them back green with around 5 laps to go. And with what we've seen so far, Brian Voss has, the speed, but he's not been able to build up a run fast enough to get to the inside or the outside of the 54 Brandon Elvis. So things are going to get a little bit more spicy here as we get inside these final 5 laps, though. Mason Johnson in the 25, also looking pretty sporty. He put those fresh tires on that last caution flag that we had, or a couple cautions ago, I should say. He came down pit road at lap 66. So about 20 lap newer tires than Brian Voss in the 55. And keep in mind, folks, Brandon Elvis in the 54 electing to not come down pit road and take tires. So a lot of different strategies being played up front. And right now we're going to figure out which one was the right one to go with. I believe we're going to be getting the white flag, one to go right here. The lights off on the Bad Company Racing pace car, and we're going to be sending them back green flag racing with 5 laps to go. And folks, I want to see it in the chat below. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Brandon Elvis in the 54? Will Brian Voss be able to make the move Will it be somebody in the second row? Will it be Zach Murphy in the 29 or the 25 of Mason Johnson? We'll find out in a second. 5 to go. We're green. Brandon Elvis leads. Into turns 1 and 2. Brandon Elvis able to get clear? Maybe no. Here comes Brian Voss. Going to have a lane up top. What's he going to be able to do? Brian Voss in the 55 machine up on the top side with the fresher tires. 4 laps to go. We've got 4 cars under a blanket battling for the top spot. Brandon Elvis on the bottom side, trying to make the bottom work with the older tires. He's going to have to go the short way around, but here comes Brian Voss going the long way around. He's got contact from Mason Johnson behind. Everybody fighting for the lead here. 3 to go. Into 3 and 4 this time. Still very tight here on the nose. Who's going to have it the line that time? It's Brian Voss in the 55. The popsicle sticks are up in the air. 2 laps to go. What can Brandon Elvis do? The advantage goes to the 55 machine right here. Elvis going to have to start making the 54 a little bit wider here if he wants a shot at it. White flag. 1 more lap to go at the line. Brian Voss has the advantage. What can Brandon Elvis do down low? Here comes Mason Johnson in the 25, trying to make it a 3-car race. Into turns 3 and 4. Out of the corner, Brian Voss going to be able to steal the victory at the last possible moment. 3 wide at the line for the second spot. Give it to Brandon Elvis. And a photo finish at the line for the second position. We'll go back in time and try and get another view at that 3 wide finish to the line. And a preview or review that last lap right here. You see Voss has the advantage and is able to get clear. But then it's a battle for the second spot. You see Johnson in the 25 up top. Murphy gives a little nudge to the 54 of Elvis. And then it's 3 wide at the line. And Brandon Elvis just barely gets by Mason Johnson and gets on the gets that second spot. But a great race right there. Brian Voss coming in to steal the victory with 2 laps to go. A great race here tonight. Brian Voss leading only 3 laps, and it's the most important 3 of the race. The last 3 right there. Going to be picking up the victory. Once again, his 3rd win of the season. And we're going to return in just a moment, folks. We'll get a word from our top 3 competitors and go over the point standings after this evening's race. In just one moment, as we will return on True Sim Productions. All right, folks, we are back here on True Sim Productions, getting things ready to go here, and gonna wrap up with an interview from our top 3 competitors. And there is Mason Johnson, our 3rd place finisher, in chat. We'll move him up, and there he is. Mason Johnson, you got a copy? Gonna try again. Mason Johnson, got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, well, first start here in the All-Star Racing League here tonight. You qualified on the pole, or almost on the pole. You qualified second, sorry, and were able to get that top spot from the get-go and led that entire first green flag run. Unfortunately, lost the top spot on that restart, but played a good pit strategy and were able to get back onto the podium. Tell me how your race went.
Yeah, it was a good race. Setup was good. Whoever built the setup, it was good. Appreciate them building it. I wasn't even paying attention to the driver meeting or whatever. Didn't realize we had a set of tires. We got that caution about halfway. Everybody pitted. And I didn't know why they were pitting, so I looked at fuel and tires and realized we had a set of tires. So I definitely had to. Didn't have a good hand pitting so late, but yeah, it was good. Good clean race. Everybody raced good.
Yeah, you mentioned good clean race, and up front there was a lot of really close side-by-side action there at the end. Two rows under a blanket side by side, and just all out battling at the line. 3 wide to the finish, just shy of that second spot here tonight. But nonetheless, a great showing for your first start this season. Anybody that you have to thank that helped get you on the podium here tonight?
I don't know who made the set. The set was pretty good. It was a pretty good set. Appreciate Brian, Brandon, and whoever else puts this on. I don't really know much about it, but had fun racing with them.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you, Mason Johnson, on your third place run here tonight.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty, folks, that was your third place finisher, Mason Johnson. Now to grab a word from our second place finisher, Brandon Elvis. Brandon, you got a copy? Going once, going twice.
Hey.
There we go. Brandon, just so close here tonight. Just led that whole back half of the race except for the final 3 laps. You know, heartbreaking to finish second right there, but still a good run. Tell me how your race went.
Yeah, man. It's really hard to pass. Like really, really hard to pass. So I saw Mason take a gamble and stay out. I'm like, man, I really don't have much to lose. If I do come tires, probably best I can do is 4th or 5th. So I said, let's give it a run here, see what we got. I felt like I saved a little more than everybody else in the top 5 there. That first half, they looked like they were sliding around pretty good, and I was just kind of maintaining, trying not to abuse the right rear, really. That was all I had.
Yeah, it was a very close battle at the end. 4 cars 2 by 2 under a blanket there for the top few spots at the end. What more can you ask for? 3 wide at the line there for second. You were just barely able to get Mason Johnson at the line, but still a good night for points for you.
Yeah. I'm happy to come out of here with a second place. Hate to see Voss get another win and open up that points lead any more than he has, but it is what it is. Good for him for winning. Thanks for Mason running me clean there, and that was fun, man. I just wish we could have held off for another lap or 2.
Yeah, oh so close. 3 laps, the difference between a victory and second here tonight. But anybody that you have to thank before we wrap things up?
Yes, my wife, Barry Elvis Performance and Fab, Chestnut Hill Restaurant, Florence Winter Speedway, coming to the Sim soon. The Shock Eye Racing Performance, Coleman Design, Justin Coleman, my teammate, my brother, my teammate, Coleman, knocks these paints out of the park. I feel like I got a pretty sharp looking ride tonight, so I thank him for that. And shout out to you for doing the broadcast for us. Crooked Line, All-Star Racing. I feel like we've had a good thing going here this season. A couple more things. Let's see. Oh, shout out to Teddy Bear and Jay Lund watching in Brian Voss's camp.
Alrighty, well, a bunch of people helping out the 54 machine here tonight, but second place, congratulations to you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Alrighty, folks, that was your second place finisher, Brandon Elvis, here tonight. And now we'll grab a word from our winner, Brian Voss, in the 55. We'll see if we can grab a word. Brian, you got a copy? I don't know why nobody can hear me. Brian, you got a copy?
Gotcha.
There we go. Nobody can hear me on my first try. I don't know why, but anyways, the win once again here tonight. This time in a little bit more exciting fashion. You stole the victory there with 3 laps to go. You were able to use the advantage of the fresher tires and get around the 54 there. Tell me how your race went.
Yeah, I was worried about it. We left some speed out on the table. I messed up in 1 and 2 in qualifying. I actually thought it would held up a little bit better than it did. I mean, these guys have some speed tonight for sure. And then kind of wanted to get track position, but it was so hard to pass off the bottom. Murphy was doing a phenomenal job just rolling that top and clearing you down the straightaway. You can get back to him in the center, but he just had the momentum off the corner. So then honestly, I said we might as well go ahead and pit now because I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to pass Murphy. And then it just kind of happened to work out in our favor. Them guys stayed out. Brandon had a handful, but was driving the hell out of it and did a great job there. I thank everybody for running me clean.
Yeah, it was a great finish to that race. 4 cars under a blanket there, and you were able to work your way through the traffic right there and get by Brandon Elvis on that top side, which we saw the top side all night, as you mentioned, with Zach Murphy. You guys battled for how many laps with him on the top side, but it was just a really racy track, and Mason Johnson commented on the setup as well, being just really racy. And you guys definitely put on a show here tonight. But next week we go to, I believe, Hickory Motor Speedway. Going to be an exciting little race there, 125 laps. Tell me how you're feeling going in there with another win and the points lead.
Wasn't a big fan of Hickory, but I think I found something at South Boston on a similar layout of track and banking that I'm going to try to incorporate next week. Hopefully it works out. We haven't had much success at Hickory in the past. We've had speed, but just never can maintain on long runs. Always just kill the tires. But back to Mason's point, hopefully the setup's a little bit better than what we've had in years past, and next week we can repeat.
Alrighty, well, before we wrap things up, anybody that you have to thank once again for putting the 55 machine in victory lane?
Yeah, man, we got some boys watching tonight. Jay Bird, Pig, Chris Schick, Teddy Bear, Dave Dogg's watching. Got to thank, of course, Rain Total Body Fuel, Butler Roof Company, Blue Iron, Coastal Region, Fueled by Miller Lite, and, of course, that Spear Money for the Crew, Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll take it every week.
Yeah, we've had a lot of beer money for the crew this week or this season, and we wish you luck in keeping that up. We've got a couple more races to wrap up the season, but you're doing pretty good so far. Another victory. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Yeah, most people could save up that money and have one big party, but I guess Alcoholics Anonymous, we have some struggles.
Yeah.
So it goes in one night.
Yeah, keep it throughout the week, and then, hey, if you get it back next week, it's always good, and that's what you've been doing, so congratulations once again.
All right, Winston, appreciate it, man. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Folks, that was Brian Voss. Always fun to have him up here in the booth, and, man, he is always up in here. He's on the pole half the time. He's in victory lane. He's leading at the midpoint when I want to grab a word from our race leader. He's doing great things in the 55 this season. And speaking of, I think we might be able to get the points updated in time to look at it. Hopefully. But coming into tonight, Brian Voss with a pretty big commanding lead over Brandon Elvis, 41 points. That's definitely going to open up just a little bit, but Elvis coming in second here tonight going to help quite a bit. But I think that's going to wrap it up for our coverage of Southern National for the All-Star Racing League. Next week, obviously, heading to Hickory Motor Speedway, like we said. Going to be a pretty exciting race there. But thank you to everybody who tuned in here tonight to our coverage of Southern National Motorsports Park. And we look forward to seeing you guys back next week. I'd like to thank our partners, Barry Elvis Performance and Fabrication, as well as Chestnut Hill and the Crooked Line Racing League as well. And I think that's going to do it for me. I'm Winston Deal, your host. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time on True Sim Productions.